cannot read his name. I'm sorry, I can't read your name. Can you read it, Julius?
Tony Lavore or Lavore?
Thomas.
Very close enough.
Excellent, excellent. This is called the Raccoon's Petition, and it has a short epigraph from Schopenhauer. And it goes, "Men are the devils of the earth, and the animals are the tormented souls." The Raccoon's Petition. The raccoon hangs on a wooden rack in the back of a pickup truck, its body fixed and frozen, stretched taut for drying, a wet and stiffening rag. Eyes sealed shut, its small mouth clenched, it seems holding in plastic button teeth broken from eating desperately at metal. The black and brown segmented tail streaked red from raccoon blood running down its sides swings back and forth in the wind, like words in infant traces. I would read them if I could. I would read about walking on the soles of my feet, heels close to ground, my nose wet, pressed tight to dirt, smelling rabbit. I would read of turning eggs over and over, anxiously picking for breaks, of washing on rocks, of swimming, of climbing up trees, of sleeping. I would read about suddenly pulling and kicking at air, of feeling something like cold, pain gnawing deep in the folds of my brain, of leaving my tail behind, crying. I would read of old trails that I furtively follow until my nose fills torpid with death and I fall, my skin collapsing around me. I would read about creatures that suck at my soul. I would read about heaven. I would read about hell. I would read of its devils. Thanks. Wright. Carolyne Wright.
It's really EULENE.
All right. Oh, that doesn't work, does it? It's got to be here. Okay, I'm vertically challenged. So, yeah. Right here. All right.
EULENE had to insert a few other names. All right, everybody, listen up. You got to wake up here. Everybody stretch, breathe, do a little Zumba move. All right, we're all ready. Okay, here we go. EULENE is going to give you a little pagan panegyric, which is a praise song. And it is an abecedarian. You all know your abecedarians? I mean your ABCs? All right, you know how many lines long you have to endure here? Okay. Pagan panegyric, EULENE. Astrology beats Christianity. Crystal balls, Astarte's diaphanous veil dance outstrip evangelism's empty heft. How so? First, you high priestesses of cyber shopping get to keep your Maybelline and mini skirts, hot pants and go-go boots, day glow posters of Elvis, iron butterfly and cream, weekends with your rock star stud bucket just back from the Moondog Big Bang Coronation Ball and Cowabunga Blues Fest, getting it on in his Malibu Beach cabana with love beads dripping from bedposts and, should I say, bad posts. and lava lamps, cherry and erotic butterscotch undulations moving in mirror syncopation to your love thrusts. Who could have had it better? No way to beat those odds or press the juice from those sacrimonious grapes on the Mount of Olives, the Garden of Gethsemane's penultimate regrets, next door to which Pilate washes his hands in silver finger bowls and asks the Pharisees if there are any further questions. The graybeards shrug, resume their davening, folding their grievances into the oldest human grief. Meanwhile, the ragged-haired, non-union actor drags his plywood cross through the studio backlots via Dolorosa dust like the real simulacrum. Only groans, no lines, hence no residuals for this redeemer, though his part's the crux and epicenter of the whole millennial passion fall. Between scenes, he smokes in trailer shade, reads tarot for future gigs. Hanged man and Hierophant unmask his dangerous luck. Ah, chuck it, he thinks. Make up with EULENE, amateur belly dancer playing Magdalene. In her bungalow at Venice Beach, they used to bawl in palm-fringed sunlight spilling onto Javanese floor mats. Then his jug band's touring schedule revved. He wanted his space, canceled their romance like maxed-out credit cards. Her anguish loomed, Cassandra keening over nuclear ruins, until the set of this X-Files induced fantasy of alien abduction back to 33 AD. Magdalene, a cyborg who'd washed that son of man right out of her hair. You'd think Hollywood would learn. What happened in ancient days keeps happening. Magdalene loves Jesus. EULENE, Dwayne. At least Jesus has a higher calling. The zeitgeist on high zaps him from the marriage canopy. EULENE sobs tombside in her zodiac print veil. Now what? Stay tuned for next week's thrilling revelations. Thank you. And EULENE thanks you. And the next reader is Rebecca Colucci, one of the bad girls. And is she here? Oh, Rebecca, are you here? Well, gone to David Biespiel. Woo-hoo!
I'm so grateful to be here and be included in this. And I've got a poem for Henry who's coming next. So my next book of poems is in the form of a...
I get it.
Thank you. Epistolary poem. That's great. Whoa.
No.
We're good. My next book of poems is a book of epistolary poems. They're all in the poems all in the form of letters. And I wrote one to a foe, really. I've had the privilege for the last now 4 years of writing for Politico, which is the kind of political insidery gossip sheet in Washington, D.C., and I had a chance to debate with politicians like Grover Norquist. And nobody ever cheers for Grover. He's a smart dude, I'd say. And one person I got to know was a guy named Cesar Conda. You probably don't know who he is. He's a conservative wonk, really. And he worked for Vice President Cheney. He was in the White House working with Cheney for many years. Left, put out a shingle, started his own shop, and of conservative thought. And then it's now the chief of staff for Marco Rubio, the junior senator from Florida. And I've gotten to know Cesar quite well. He's Catholic. He's the father of 7 children. He spends most of his weekends at sporting events with small children. And I adore him, but I don't agree with much of anything he thinks. I wrote a poem to him in this sequence from Anaconda, Montana. Maybe some of you have been there. That's a town which has been abandoned, which I tried to describe in the poem. And the poem is called To Conda, Caesar Conda, To Conda from Anaconda. How did you do that? It rhymes all the way through, but you may not hear it. Dear Cesar, just off the highway from here is opportunity. The town's not living up to its name. Well, I'm going to stop there while I go through the phone and find it again. I shouldn't touch it, really. I wasn't ready, Caroline.
Hey, get with it.
Thank you for staring at me. Look away, I'm hideous. Dear Cesar, just off the highway from here is opportunity. The town's not living up to its name. And no one sings O Tempore, O More, not since the Copper Company gave everyone a day's notice 29 years ago next September. What's left is the smelter stack that breaks up 585 feet closer to God high like an unfaithful steeple. Even the stained glass inside the lovely St. Mark's on 3rd Street honors the radial heights in its east windows. From the highway, what you see is a sun-rusted mausoleum to 1919 masonry, so tall and wide you can slip the Washington Monument into it. Say, Cesar, can you see the Anaconda stack from your porch in Virginia? Or the rusty gaff that's spewed for 61 years across the hard land that accepts nothing? There was 4 million cubic feet of gas per minute. I don't know how you could have missed it. Like most tragedies in America, it's a state park now. As for the town, it got splayed in half and hasn't got up yet. All big government did was try to clean the miles after miles of slag heap along the dark road into here. Slag still black with the souls sold to the company store, where what you get is another year older and deeper in debt. There are 30 bars in this town, Cesar, and 60% of the folks here are over 65. 8 miles from the Continental Divide, the median income is $26K. Lucille Ball lived here, and so did Frank Cope, starting tackle for the New York Giants, 1938 to 1947. The morning outside the locker room, this morning outside the locker room bar, I met one old timer with good hair. He used $1 to buy potatoes to boil for dinner with salt and butter. He told me about walking to the edge of Anaconda when he turned 24, 29 years ago next September. Not far from where the backcountry squawks at the night and the moon gathers over the mockingbirds and company-built houses crammed onto the tree-named streets. Oak, pin, chestnut, locust, beech, cedar, cherry. They come at you like a song, like America the Beautiful, like take nobody's business if I do. Cypress, dogwood, cottonwood, elm. And he told me he dreamed of leaving Anaconda for Butte, where the political lords know how to shake the state for jobs or else leave for opportunity, or West Valley or Phillipsburg, where the degrees of gray blow into an utterance only a harpy can translate. A squall, like some unknown language that sounds like dirt mixed with dust. Suddenly there's another man across Commercial Street talking openly about impotence, then about death and birth and sorrow and gases and death and rare clear nights from some other year when the kids who have abandoned this town used to get $1 at the Smelterman's Day picnic in July and got to ride a pony for free and later watch Legion Ball in Washoe Park, and where no one ever wanted to believe in sorrow because it seemed anti-American. Caesar, that old man stood on Commercial Street half in shadow, half in sweat, and half in fear. That fit him like a flannel shirt from 1974. The year India got the bomb and called it Smiling Buddha. Where in Troy, Ohio, the first UPC code was used to sell a pack of Wrigley's gum. When Haile Selassie was deposed, as was George Foreman by Ali in Kinshasa, when Derek Jeter was born and Duke Ellington died and Nixon threw in the towel. That was outside the locker room bar. Inside it was 9 a.m. and the owner, Joey Stranieri, age 70 on tiptoe, with the blue eyes of the old country around near about Napoli, and a disease in his blood so rare no one can name it, turned out to be the father of my brother-in-law that works with cons on probation 2 states away. Joey poured us hot cups of coffee and talked about his 26 years teaching biology at the junior high. Caesar, I want you to look closely at the National Guard poster side by side with the World Beer Cup poster, the video poker and the Keno, and the black and white 8x10s of Anaconda High's great stars from 60 years ago, including 1956 U.S. Olympic boxer Johnny Rouse. 1956, the year Elvis made it with Heartbreak Hotel. My Fair Lady opened in New York. Under God was added to the Pledge of Allegiance. In God We Trust became the national motto. Martin and Lewis called it quits, as did the Montgomery boycott. Caesar, here's a 1980 menu from the Copper Club, closed Mondays and then forever. Rib steak, $4.25. Australian lobster tail, $8.50. Ravioli for the Italians who immigrated here for crummy jobs that let them raise a family on smelt copper, including Joey's old man who was mezzogiorno and died when the boy was in 3rd grade, a la carte, $2.25. Junior high's condemned now, says Joey, pouring in a little more Joe. That's when my mind closes around its dead gymnasium, closes around the gates chained to the top of the slag hills in the small pocket park that does not exist in the center of town because the state of Montana wouldn't give the permit. But if you want to plant a kitchen garden in your backyard and grow tomatoes and green beans, the state of Montana doesn't require a permit. My mind's still closed around the barbed fencing, meant to keep gawkers off the slag hill. All of it now is like 3 cheers for the hours of corrosion and inertia and semi-success, and the foundry makers and the half-gassed vegetables and the raspy eulogies on eternity, and the idle hands and the snow on the mountainsides I looked at with curiosity while standing outside the locker room bar before getting into my rented Chevy to drive to Bozeman. Caesar 2 nights ago in Missoula at Pearl's Bar on Higgins Streets, I ate elk for the first time. I don't recommend it. Stick with the Caesar salad. But after Anaconda, I was headed to Bozeman. February snow chasing me from the west. Sunlight in the east breaking through the clouds, whining into the sky with all the dust I've swallowed all these years. On I-90, I saw 2 bald eagles on 2 bald trees. And I can't say I felt unhappy, but I can't say I felt rich either. I was thinking, Caesar, someone should write a Tanaga about the towns of Montana. I should say Tanaga is a form from the Japanese. They speak never mind. They speak Tagalog. Someone should write a Tanaga about the towns of Montana in Tagalog, a language I love but cannot speak, as my Anaconda friend cannot speak the language of hope or change. Oh, be resilient, you men and ladies of Anaconda. Anaconda won't come back. Do not cower. The marketplace will save you. I don't see any Filipinos in Anaconda. But I did see an Italian named Joey Straneri. Hold on, I just lost my place. Time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm last.
Yeah.